welcome, Quad City Life Groups. We're glad you're joining us. Whether you are here at a Quad City campus, you're sitting in your living room couch, whether you're single or married, we're excited. You're choosing to lean in, listen, and chat about cultivating a godly marriage. So this Sunday, Pastor Josh had a powerful message, how we are to weed and water our marriages. He started out by saying that most of our marriages are good. They're good. We rarely say this, even in a church setting. He went on to say that 93% of people would say they are happily married, that they happily married their spouse, and they would do it all over again if they could. And that's hopeful. We need some hope. But Josh did go on to say, and he was clear in saying that we know marriage is still hard. It can be hard work. We cannot simply coast in our marriages. If we're only coasting, we eventually coast downhill. We must put in the work. Healthy and flourishing crops, like in farming, need hard work. They take hard work, and our marriages do too. We must weed and water. And so that fun and slightly easy part was the dating part, the dating years, the courtship, planning the wedding, the reception, the party, and of course, the honeymoon. But the meat and potatoes of marriage is rarely talked about, even from the platform in some churches. So we must be working on our communication in marriages, our encouragement of one another, in our day-to-day intimacy, in becoming more selfless, not more selfish. This takes practice and work. And then also here's the truth that many of us know. There is an enemy out there who wants to destroy our marriages, wants to take us down. 1 Peter 5:8 says, "Be alert and of sober mind. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, looking for someone to devour." And so as followers of Jesus, we have to take seriously the fact that the enemy is looking to devour our marriages, our homes, to turn us against one another, and to destroy the thing that God said is good, to rip apart the thing that preacher stood up and said, "Let no man separate" on that wedding day. The enemy knows if he can destroy our marriage, he can destroy years of our life. How many of you are still reeling from that divorce? The pain there. You have lost years. Maybe some healing happened and thank the Lord, but it still took years and it's hard. Divorce can affect children for years, for even generations. Pain comes in separation. We know so many in our church know this and are living through it. Pastor Josh, he went on to teach us that God made marriage. So in healthy, God-fearing marriages, God's plan is that the world would flourish and thrive. And this enemy, the devil, is hoping that you and I, that we take our foot off the gas and all the effort we once poured into our dating relationship, that we put that stuff to the side. And now the enemy wants us to focus on me, the things in my life, sports, my kids, jobs, pursuing money, so that we will forget about nurturing and caring for the greatest human relationship we've got, that God's given us. So how can we withstand the storms that will one day come? What are we putting into practice to make our marriage healthy and to make it a priority? And have we surrendered our marriages to Jesus? So let's take the next 10 minutes or so to chat through some discussion questions on the screen, and then we will jump back in together. Well, welcome back, church. Another powerful topic Josh touched on was the word submit. Often a touchy word, something difficult to hear. It's an odd word to hear because this can make some of us feel uncomfortable because of the way the world has told us how to respond to the word submit. But the Lord has given us some clear instruction. Living a life surrendered to Jesus, we must first submit to the Lord, first and foremost. He's number one. And so Ephesians 5 in verse 22, it says, "Wives, submit yourselves to your own husbands, as you do to the Lord." And then in verse 24, it says, "Husbands, love your wives, just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. We must do this willingly and joyfully. Men and women, this is hard to do, but this is all about investing in our marriage, living selfless lives, serving one another. And I love what Josh said about lifting up one another in regards to submission. Am I leading my wife and listening to her, lifting her up? Is she respecting me, loving me, letting me lead our family with Christ at the center, lifting me up in marriage? So spouses, let's be the chief encourager for our spouse. Both husbands and wives alike. Let's lift up the other. And I think it's so great to hear these verses in Ephesians 5 through the unique lens that Josh taught on Sunday. So I'm going to read these verses with the words, lift it up, taking the place of submit. So Ephesians 5, verse 21. Lift up one another out of reverence for Christ. Wives, lift up your own husbands, as you do to the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife, as Christ is the head of the church, his body, of which he is the Savior. Now as the church lifts up Christ, so also wives should lift up their husbands in everything. Husbands, lift up your wives, just as Christ loved and lifted up the church and gave himself up for her. Let's live this out in our marriages, with our spouses, lifting up one another. Let's speak life to them at the dinner table and in front of our kids, speaking kindly with love. Let's learn our spouse's love language and show it to them, something like quality time or words of affirmation. Also, we don't always have to be right, squirming with pride. Let's live with a posture in life and in marriage that we may sometimes be wrong and that we hear our spouse. And let's not hold our spouse's mistakes against them. Let's be good forgivers. And I want to encourage you to try and outserve one another in marriage. Let your marriage be a union of two great forgivers, with Christ at the center, thanking him always for the spouse God gave you. Now we will finish up with some more discussion questions around your table or in your living room. And church, I know I'll see you again soon, and I'll see you on Sunday.